Hey guys, Super Retrocade here. So I thought I'd do another video today on something that came in the mail. So this is the Retro Fighters StrikerDC Dreamcast Controller. So what this is a reimagined version of the Sega Dreamcast controller. These guys had a Kickstarter to help get their new version of the Dreamcast controller off the ground, and I had backed their Kickstarter. So this arrived on Friday, and I've just had it sitting here so that I could do a video on it. So I really don't have any real problems with the original Dreamcast controller. I mean, for the most part, I really like the original Dreamcast controller. I would say the only thing that I would maybe change is where this controller cable comes out. You know, instead of having it at the bottom, it should come out the top. And I know that's one of the things they changed. I've also heard in the past where people don't like the analog stick because they claim that it'll, you know, feel like sandpaper after a while. But I don't really know how much there is to that. I've never had any problem with it. Another thing that's kind of interesting about this new Dreamcast controller is it's going to support VMUs. So this isn't like a normal VMU that you typically see with the LCD screen on it. This is the Sonic Team VMU that actually lets you save in 4 separate blocks of memory, because VMUs are actually limited to only being able to save a certain amount. So they made some of these larger VMUs by having it where you could essentially switch between 4 blocks of that large amount, or of that amount of memory. And this one was originally for Phantasy Star Online, because I guess people would have a lot of saves when they played that game online on their Dreamcast. So I'm just going to open it up here. Ooh, it's kind of opening upside down. That's a little weird. So, very nice box. I'm not sure what these 2 buttons on the side are. Oh, some people also don't like the triggers on the Dreamcast. They think they're too low. So maybe that's something they changed too. Introducing the new revolution from Retro Fighters, the Dreamcast StrikerDC controller. The StrikerDC gamepad showcases next generation features and designs. This new take on the Dreamcast controller introduces an ergonomic and modern shape with added features. The StrikerDC is the ultimate way to relive your favorite classic games. Ergonomic and modern design Dreamcast controller, compatible with both VMUs and vibration packs, high quality and responsive D-pad, extra long 10 foot cable, added turbo functions to get you to the next level, comfortable and responsive analog stick. So it looks like this one's a turbo, this one's a clear. I don't know what clear does, but turbo is probably for all the shoot 'em ups on Dreamcast or shmups on Dreamcast, so that you're not hitting the A button like crazy. And then the D-pad, I don't really see the D-pad as an issue. Dreamcast was kind of killing it at the time for its 3D games, so there's not really a whole lot of 2D games on the Dreamcast where you're using the D-pad. And that 10-foot cable's awesome. Actually, 2 things that kind of hurt the Dreamcast that they haven't fixed, and there's no way that they can, is 2 things that would have really helped the Dreamcast is if it would have been a dual analog stick setup. That would have helped it more with like 3D shooters and stuff. And then another thing that really would have helped it was if it had another 2 buttons up here. So then they really could have killed the fighting game market. But since they only did 4 buttons for fighting games, people had to use the triggers. Either the games had to use the triggers for the other 2 up here. So it'd be like low punch, high punch, low kick, high kick, and then I forget what the other two are, but typically fighting games have 6, like in the arcades. So either the games would utilize the triggers for the fighting games, or they would just do it with 4. So if they'd have done 6 buttons up here, I could see that having really helped. That could have really helped the Dreamcast. And if they'd have gone dual analog before anybody else, that could have really helped them. Well, and I guess, and now that I think about it, I think PS1 had maybe already gone analog, because PS1 originally, I mean dual analog, because PS1 didn't originally have dual analog sticks, but later they did. And Dreamcast came out after PS1. So here they got all kinds of stuff about why this controller's good. I'm just wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if they had anything about that clear button, but they don't tell you what the clear button does. Then they put some stickers in here. That's pretty cool. Nice little manual. Yeah, it doesn't tell you. Oh, clear button and the button you wish to go back to normal. Oh, okay. So you hit any button and then turbo. So you can set like A for turbo and then hit clear and clear the turbo on A. And you could do that for any button. Okay. And then they got a little keychain in here. Another Retro Fighters guy. And then they got the controller. So they actually did an L and R and triggers. So that's kind of interesting. And then your VMU. Oh, that feels very tight. It kind of feels like I don't want to put it in there. Because I don't want to scrape up this guy. Unless I'm doing something wrong. Oh, there it went. Okay, so it does fit. Just felt a little weird. I don't like how tight that is. But it seems like it was fine. This bottom one feels better. Top one's just a little weird. But it fits. I'm gonna put my VMU back in the old one. Yeah. There's the back of it. So that's how they put the cable up. So I'm assuming that these bumpers and these triggers do the same thing. Would have been cool if they well, maybe they'll still do it, but it'd be cool if they make different colored Dreamcast controllers. I mean, it feels good. Start button feels clicky, but that's not a big deal. D-pad feels good. The ABXY feels good. And the joystick feels pretty good. So I'll probably give it a try with a game here. Play like some NBA Showtime or something I'm real familiar with. Okay guys, so I have the new DC Striker hooked up to my arcade cabinet here, plugged into my Dreamcast. So, seems to be working okay for selecting games. So I'm gonna fire up NBA Showtime first. Just gonna kind of try to sit like this so you guys can see my button presses. I don't know if that really matters, but okay, so I hit start, select start game. And I'm going to select my Toronto Raptors. They're not my favorite team or anything, it's just Vince Carter's awesome.
The Toronto Raptors go up against the Los Angeles Clippers.
See, and this isn't a game where you really want turbo for anything. I'll probably play like a shoot 'em up after this, like Under Defeat or something, to try the turbo stuff. Actually, you know, though, I'm gonna do it for A.
Here's the tip, and we have got a great matchup for you today. McGrady.
So I was trying to cheat on the tip off, but that didn't work. So I'm trying to.
Fires it, and he missed it. Carter, quick fake. Carter, really skying. Hands off to Brankovic. Again with the shot. And he grabs the ball. Quick as lightning.
Something. Maybe I did screw up A. Let me put A back to. So I just hit A and clear. So it kind of seemed like A was acting weird.
Hands off to Carter with the crossover.
There we go. Yeah, it was like it wasn't letting me. It wasn't letting me like. I'm not sure what you'd call it. Do that little follow through.
Dishes to Brankovic. Finds Taylor. And scores. Toronto up by a point. There is 1 minute left. He shoots right through. Hands off to Taylor. Whoop. Oh, baby, he wanted all of it and he got it. Toronto up by a point. Going up for the dunk. Finds Brankovic. With 30 seconds to go, off the mark. Carter.
See, I'm having a hard time doing my spin move, but it just feels like I'm running out of turbo, like more quickly for some reason. Whoop, whoop. I'm gonna play another quarter.
Toronto up by a point.
See, there he did it.
He launches the three. Brankovic. Alley-oop. To Carter. Smooth move. Carter.
Really? Jeez.
And he gets hit hard. Carter. And he gets hit hard. Brankovic misfires. Whoop. Hands off to Carter. He goes right by him. Carter. Hands off to Taylor. He just flat out leveled it. Way up in the air. Taylor. Going high. Let's see that one again. The Raptors lead in 2. Carter. And that's good for 2. To Taylor.
Okay, so I'm gonna fire up a shoot 'em up and try these turbo buttons. Let's go. Let's play Under Defeat. This is actually a Japanese Dreamcast game. It's really cool because the game has like very good explosion effects to where it'll actually cause slowdown on the Dreamcast. And it's kind of interesting when you try like Redream or different emulation, Dreamcast emulation, see how the different emulators will handle that slowdown. Oh, and maybe this one, seeing like this one, you can hold down A anyway, so I don't even need a turbo. So I guess the turbo doesn't even really make sense here. But you know that this game you actually use the D-pad, so their redesigned D-pad is actually a big deal here. Yeah, the explosion effects in this game are just awesome. Like, check that out. So maybe the D-pad would be cool in a game like this. You know, and the 10-foot cable is definitely cool. So I don't know how long Dreamcast cables are, but they're not that long. I have like extenders for all of them. See, what's kind of cool about this shoot 'em up is when you fire, your guy will stay shooting that direction. It's almost like you kind of lock your guy in what direction he's firing. Oh! Oh, he got me. I love the just explosion effects in this game though. So, my verdict on this is it's not life-changing, but it's also not worse. Like, I feel like it's at least just as good as a Dreamcast controller. The only thing that kind of hurts it for me is that authentic Dreamcast styling. I mean, it's just cooler knowing you're using an original one. But the start button is kind of clicky and feels cheap, but the rest of them feel very good. And I kind of like how they have the bumpers and the triggers doing the same thing, even though I'd probably just use the triggers all the time, because I don't know that there's any games. I don't know if there's really games where having bumpers would be better or not. Also, the top VMU slot seems a little tight, so I don't know. I mean, it works, but it seems a little tight. The long cord is awesome, and it coming out the top is awesome. The joystick feels good, feels really good. It just feels. It doesn't feel like your character, your ship move around differently. It just feels different. It doesn't really feel as much like you're playing a Dreamcast. The D-pad seems good, but I don't really have a problem with the original D-pads either. And then the turbo and clear, so far in the couple games I played, they're not really relevant. So, is it a waste of money? No. Is it life-changing? No. But it's pretty cool that they made it, and I'm going to keep it because I do like that 10-foot cord, and I do think it's cool that they did this. The other thing is, I'm sure they're going to do. I would hope they would do different colors, because the original Dreamcast is all kinds of different colored controllers. Because that was kind of the big thing in the late '90s, early 2000s. So hopefully they do different colors of these. You know, and this guy wasn't that expensive, so it's probably worth it if you're really into the Dreamcast. So this is Super Retrocade. Thanks for watching.